Welcome to Probate Weekly. I'm Bill Gross at Bill Gross Probate on social media or billgrossprobate.com with all my links and programs and such. We do this program, we film it live on Zoom on Thursdays, 9 a.m. Pacific time, 12 noon time. That's particularly important today because our guest is noon. So we do this on Zoom and then we broadcast it on social medias on Thursdays at 4 o'clock on YouTube and LinkedIn and Facebook and such. If you want to jump in live, we'd love to have you come in. And the whole idea of this program initially was to get more agent participation. That's why we moved it here so you can talk to the guests yourself. But Probate Weekly is the program. We continue the conversation afterwards on Facebook, on our Facebook group, probateweekly.com. But if you want to register on the Zoom call, just go to probateweekly.com, put your email address in. You get an email reminder with a link for the live Zoom link, as well as you can scroll down and get it on your other favorite formats, the past episodes, or listen to it as a podcast, and also the past episodes on YouTube as well. Really excited to have today. We couldn't figure out if this is his third or fourth visit. I have to check the records. But I know he hasn't gotten the three-time guest coffee mug yet. That's a new development in our program, so that's something for him to look forward to. George Compton is the founder of Executorium. And if you followed me, I've had him on a couple times, and I really think, for those of you watching, I guess all the time, how do I build my business? As if there's a program to buy or some data to buy that will change your business. And I want to tell you, the number one tool I believe to build your business for free is to be on this call today. We're going to talk about it. It's the content and the networking that we have already. And George's program, Executorium, is a key tool that can help you do that for free. That's the best part about it. Or you can advertise and pay a premium to support if you want to. George, thanks for being on the call today.
Thank you, Bill. Hello, everyone.
And so executorium.com, anybody can go to the website, but give us the background. What was it? What was the itch that you scratched when you launched this program?
Well, the itch that I scratched was I was an executor, and the experience of, you're an executor is something I use often to kind of describe your life is going along this way, and all of a sudden it just goes this way. And is competent as you may think you are, or even may be. You're in a completely new space. You're the new guy. You're the new girl. Everyone else is an expert. They're very familiar with the waters, how to navigate them, and you're just learning terms and needs and all these things for the first time, and it's difficult. It's got a high level of difficulty. So I wanted to create something that at least would attenuate some of that difficulty and show some context, show a little bit of the landscape, give them some, just a smattering of the issues and the topics and the challenges they're going to run into.
So, and so you launched this. Did you have a background in websites? Was this like you're going to build the next Facebook or the next Google, or of all things in the world, as if being an executive wasn't enough work, what caused you to launch this?
Yeah, no. uh, Without going too deeply into my psychoses and deficits, as far as biting off more than I can chew, I just really perceived a need. I was the executive director of an association, a large association of pile drivers and geotechnical engineers. It was international. So that probably is a little bit of it. I did work as a marketing consultant in the heavy construction industry. So I had a lot of exposure with websites and worked with developers and had some contractors that would develop websites for clients. But really, when I was an executor, it was more the realizing that there's no association, there's no magazine, there's no really anything aside from what your local court can provide, or a state attorney can point your way, or a certified probate expert, whatever that is. I know now, but I didn't know then. So now we have articles and estate talks on Executorium about what is a certified probate expert, because I think everyone who's in an executor's shoes should know that, right, that's a resource, as well as every other resource I come across. I either curate it or create it, and want to put it on their radar. So this this executor thing is easier.
So this program today, I believe, is going to give you 4 free tools or steps to building your business as a real estate agent, well, or an attorney or a vendor. It's executorium.com is the website. But I really think it's a unique opportunity because I think we chase the deal and we don't understand that if we create the relationships and the systems procedures, the deals will come to us. And so I want to point out to you, I think 4 things today that I want you to pay attention to, or 4 things that you should learn today, or 4 takeaways you should have when we're done. Number one, know your customer better. You might think your customer is the attorney, but the attorney really represents the executor or petitioner or administrator of the estate. And so really this is an organization of our customers, and then we interface with them through various vendors. So we're going to learn about how our customer thinks. Second, he has fantastic content. One of the ways to develop business is to educate your customers and prospective customers. And every agent I talk to says, well, where do I get content? George has a whole website. We're going to go through some of those opportunities for you to participate in. 3, networking. And I don't mean networking as in people on this call. I mean you finding the people you want to do business with and helping them on this network. And it's a unique opportunity that's free. We'll talk about that. And 4th, the crossover from probate to trust, because typically probate is lower income people who didn't plan ahead. Trusts also include people who did, estates and such, and often have on average larger assets or groups of assets to work with. Every realtor wants to get into those, and we're going to talk about how to do that. Those are your 4 takeaways that you should walk away from this call with today. So let's go number 1 to George, to know your customer. You did this because you were overwhelmed. And I would say that somebody in that position has 3 options. You can either go through this blind and drunk and stupid, like in the movie Animal House, and stumble through the process of misery for a year or more. That's an option.
That's no way to go through life, son.
That's a reference to a movie Animal House that George and I are old enough to remember. Number 2 is you can hire somebody to do it for you, but if you don't get the right person, it's as miserable and you paid money to do the job. And the 3, there are the right people you can pay, whether it be an attorney or professional fiduciary, to do that. So let's talk about, and I think, George, the reason is because different customers bring different skills, assets, and problems and time issues to the party, meaning some are busy professionals, they've never done a deal in their life, they don't know what to do. Talk a bit about kind of how you see the population of customers on executorium.com in particular.
Right. Well, that's very key, right? So combining what you just said and what I said previously, poof, you're an executor. You don't know this landscape. You don't know anything about it. What's a certified probate expert? What's an estate? Are there people that'll just handle your estate, like an estate concierge, as they are sometimes called, or just a administrator, a fiduciary? What's a fiduciary? I mean, I know what a fiduciary is, and a lot of people on the call know what a fiduciary is, but I think your run-of-the-mill executor may not know that that's the person in charge of the entity with the financial responsibility. So those are examples of little things you just have to learn on the way, and they're critical. As far as the professionals are concerned, one of the things we did, and I think have done well, is probate is done by jurisdiction, by county, or in Louisiana, parish, or in Alaska and some other states, county equivalents or regions. So we list all the different professions that are available or maybe in need by an executor. So at the very least, you can review them and see, I need an appraiser, I need an auctioneer or an estate sale person, going to need a real estate professional to sell the house. Going to need a probate attorney, going to need an accountant. What's this mediator, grief support? So just to put that all on the radar, let alone listing the people that are available in the county of the estate, because a lot of executors find themselves with an ancillary, probate situation. They're running the Wisconsin estate from their house in New York because their parents lived in Wisconsin. So, they may not be familiar, have friends there or whatever, what have you. So this gives them an opportunity to take a look. Who's there? What's there? Be familiar with the different professional support that's available to them.
And so you have a range then of customers, those who are ill-equipped, those who have some equipment. I think some people know an attorney or two, an accountant, but they may not be the right one for this type of work, for example. And you've other people who are maybe experts in their area, but don't know anything about the estate assets in another state. And so all these kind of play into the opportunity of serving our customer. And again, I think for all of us on the call, whether you're a real estate agent or an attorney or a vendor, our job is to find people with problems and help them solve the problems. And so this is a place where you can go to learn what are the problems that my prospective customers have. So that's about knowing your customers. So the second part is, George, you really created a content machine and a content resource. Every realtor I talk to, and I encourage them all, I use a podcast, I also use email and social media to post content to educate my customers. You've done the same thing with Executorium. Talk a little bit about your content strategy on Executorium.
Yeah, no, thank you, Bill. I think it's combined with your previous question too. Getting to know your customer as well as finding content is killing two birds with one stone. So as you read through the content in Executorium, you're going to understand the practical situations an executor or personal representative, depending on your state, finds themselves in. So, what do I do with the mail? Can I drive dad's car? What is probate? I need a dumpster. Maybe I need a clean out company. What do I need to know about a clean out company? Dad had shelves and shelves of books. What do I do with those? The attorney tells me to get a medallion signature guarantee. I can ask the attorney, of course, at $350 an hour, or I could familiarize myself with medallion signature guarantees on executorium.com. And as I understand it, a certified probate expert, is an asset, is like a coach, is like you're so solitary as an executor. I mean, you have your attorney, but it's expensive, of course, and you can't run to them for every little thing. So, running along with a certified probate expert is helpful, and I want to promote that because I think it just makes the state administration easier. And if the certified probate expert, the realtor, is a person that can say, hey, there's grief support, down the road if you're struggling or your sister is struggling. Here's a good dumpster guy that I know that he's fair and he's not going to rip you off. And here's a clean out company if you don't want to handle it yourself. Understanding that is one part. Understanding the different elements of what an executor experiences, if you haven't done that yourself, is going to be in the content. Then sharing it, well, we all want to have an online presence. We all want to have social media presence. So, blank canvas is hard to work with. You got to come up with the idea. You got to form the idea. You've got to craft the idea, and you've got to finalize the idea and share the idea. And this came to light, Bill, from these conversations. I didn't really realize this was such a potent possibility for Executorium. I'm writing this stuff for executors, but that it can be used by people that work with executors and share it and relate to executors. I think that's very powerful. So all the content on Executorium, whether it's original or curated, service providers can use it to just pump it out there and make a presence that's executor facing on their social media channels.
So real quick, a little housekeeping. This is Probate Weekly. You can join at probateweekly.com, sign up for the Zoom call if you want to come in live. Love to have you ask questions. Part of the thinking of moving this back to Zoom was to encourage agents, because I think you all need to get better at interviewing people and professionals. Here's a chance. So all you need to do is raise your hand, put a question in the chat box. I'd be more glad to bring you in. Talk to George directly. He doesn't bite. He can be a little gruff at times, but he doesn't really bite that hard if he does bite. So feel free to participate. Love to have you join in and ask questions. So on the content part, and the thing that I want to point out is everybody here should be wanting to learn how to serve your customer better. And the way to do that is with the content. What does that mean? So, a number of you don't know what a probate bond is. What is a probate bond? Well, I would recommend you click on the article and read it. And then if you find it interesting, only if, summarize it, post that on your social media with a link back to this article. right? So you might say, I've discovered about probate bonds are required in California. Almost every single probate needs a bond, and many trusts need bonds as well to protect the executor. And this describes what the process is. Not only that, he has a vendor that you can talk to if you have questions, because I'm sure they're glad to talk to you if you're going to recommend them to your clients and or the attorneys that you work with. I've had occasions where attorneys, had problems with bonds, and I knew how to solve them, whether it be change the vendor, right? The vendor turned down the customer for a bond. And I would say, well, just because somebody turned them down doesn't mean somebody else can't get them bonded. Let me run it by my guy. And I became a hero. I had a $40 million estate. We got bonded for about half the price as the other company. So knowing these people is an advantage. Of course, the bond guy loved me. He hasn't referred me business yet, but he promises to. But again, that's probably bond interests me, maybe because I'm more technical. But you might enjoy learning about guns. Now, I happen to like guns. Most of my friends, go shooting with me or something, or we talk about it. You may not like guns. Skip that article. Go to the one that you do like. Maybe the next one is on the state cleanup. Personally, it doesn't really interest me as a topic, but some of you, that is the topic you want to talk about. So again, use the content that you like. And I think 100, 200 articles here. You could do one a week for a year or two. And until you write your own personal content, it's a fantastic opportunity. On top of which, if you go to his resources page, he also has his YouTube channel where he interviews the people, different vendors on these places that, again, you can listen to if you find interesting, summarize, and share. So he's made it all the content available to share, and I'd recommend you all to participate at that level. The next tool, so the first tool, he says, knowing your customer, learning how your customer thinks, learning what your customer's problems are. Second, we said, is the content. Here's free content you can use that's directly on point to building your business because it solves your customers' problems. The third tool or opportunity or takeaway you should have today is networking. And I don't mean showing up at some event, buying drinks or lunch or something. I'm talking about actually helping people. So George, talk a little bit about the directory and how you see vendors like real estate agents making the directory more useful to the clients.
Well, yes, the what we call the Estate Service Providers Directory is one of the main pieces there. The executorium.com is divided up into four main parts, and one of which is the Estate Service Providers Directory. So I can go into any county like Los Angeles County, and I can find estate attorney, accountants, estate sales, auctions, mediators, grief support, appraisers, and
There's there's a count that I put in, Michael Wander Company CPAs. As I go through this and look at some of the people I put in here. I'm sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead.
like donation, of course, Convalescent Aid Society in Pasadena. And it kind of ties into it's the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. So when I say the Convalescent Aid Society in Pasadena, I think of what Bill was talking about with, I've got all this used medical equipment like so many executors have at the end of at the end of the road and have to figure out what to do with it. I hate to throw it out. Convalescent Aid Society in Pasadena would be glad to have it, and it's goodwill. And so we like to have donation as a category. You know, that's not something we're doing for revenue. That's the thing we're doing to solve an executor's problem. And I think certified probate experts can take advantage of that and be real experts and know the lay of the land, network with the donation companies and know where your clients can bring their personal property or their refuse or their things that can be recycled. I think that puts a good foot forward. Again, that's goodwill. You're going through the real property, you're going through the house, so you can see some of the problems right in front of you, and you can solve some of those problems because executors just have challenge after challenge after challenge.
Right.
And so if you can be an answer machine, there's your value. I was whistling in the wind a lot as an executor, and people were lining up to take advantage or to buy or to get a good price on X, Y, and Z. And I can actually think of those folks that were, allies or just ready to help and support. And they're the ones that get referrals. They're the ones that get, mentioned when I have a conversation when somebody says, "You were an executor, weren't you? Who'd you use?" Well, it's a process, not an event. So, networking, every county is a work in progress. We're trying to flesh out all those categories from accountants to grief support people, from pro estate attorneys to real estate folks. Listing is free, so I see it as a tool to call people who are in that network and say, "Hey, here's this executorium.com. Maybe if you want to spend 4 minutes of your time, you'll be in the directory, and you know you'll be a resource for executors. I'm there, and it's a good pretense to make a phone call to any one of these numbers of disciplines. Introduce yourself, and then also to the people that are already in there, and just to say hello. So that wasn't obvious. That wasn't obvious to me either in the beginning. Again, I'm building this for executors, but it was pointed out that that would be a dynamic that a service provider may use to, promote their business, network, learn, and be leaders in the local probate environment.
So again, think about from the example of the Convalescent Aid Society, right? They're a nonprofit and they're trying to get, build their business is probably getting donations, both of material as well as donations of money. But what a nice free listing. And then this has their website on it. And so it's a link back that adds to their Google juice, and looks nice. And in some cases, some of these organizations don't even have a formal website. So this can almost be a link to their company. And so I want you to think about really two ways to use this. One is you want to promote your network, your Rolodex, help them get more business by getting them added on to the directory. So you'd reach out to your accountant, your attorney, your favorite charity, if you're into pets or you're into, whatever, your Catholic church or whatever you think is important where people should have money. And then second, and particularly if you're in a larger community where there's already people, you can also reach out to the people who are on there. But you can make your own network. Imagine in a county that doesn't have much filled in, if all the directory were vendors of yours, right? So somebody went to the attorney, then they went to the fiduciary, then they went to the notary, then they went to the estate sale. And every one of them, when they talk about real estate, talked about you. So what happens is you're promoting your network, and one way to get business. The most frustrating part for realtors is we give business to title reps, to escrow, to mortgage, to attorneys, and we don't get as much back from any of them, generally speaking. Here's a way, though, to build your whole network out, give them all a little bit of information. And then by adding that out, if you were the only person in your county of some smaller state, for example, all roads can lead back to you. And that's the opportunity to help everybody there. Okay, so that's networking. That was the number 3 tool or takeaway that I want you guys to take advantage of today. And then 4 is crossover to trust. So one of the things that we real estate agents are tied into probate, because you can buy typically the probate filings, and then there are companies that recommend, I don't, but recommend you to cold call the petitioner, the executor, the administrator, or the attorney to get the business. However, at least in Los Angeles, but I think in most states, the really good business are the ones that don't go to probate. They're the trusts. They're the people who are, somebody passes and they pass over 10, 20, $50 million of assets, but they don't go through court because they had an estate plan. How do you get that business? Well, that person, as George, described, is, one day they're just living their life. Next thing somebody passes, next thing that, they're in charge of it. And this is the tool to get there, because some of these services are particularly of value to trust. So talk a little bit, George, about trust business and kind of the higher income, the higher end estates, and how those kind of are the pain point that you personally dealt with, as well as are looking to solve here with your tool.
Well, yes, of course. A trust is an amazing instrument to move assets from an individual to a legal document, a legal entity. And by the time, so when the death occurs and there's a decedent, the decedent has very little that is necessary to go into probate. So they may have a pour over will if they buy a boat after establishing the trust and they don't update the trust, and the pour over will may take care of something like that, or if something gets missed in the trust, it may be necessary to go to probate. Generally, that's taken care of, but it's a possibility. But people who are in trusts, people who are the beneficiaries of trusts, people who are the personal representatives, the principals of trust, still have a lot of these issues, such as clean out, such as perhaps moving the real property out of the trust and selling the real property, as well as personal property, as well as all these things that are attached to the disposal of a person's assets. So all this still very much applies. It doesn't have the same dynamics or the same mechanisms of probate, but there's similarity and there's definitely some shared space. So
Right.
it's an entree to some of that business as well.
There's certain vendors that work more with those people, like the attorneys, like the accountants, wealth management people is another group that deal with them on a regular basis. And so this is a case, this is a chance for you to put them on that website as well as to meet those who are already on there to add to your business. And so
Fiduciaries.
professional fiduciaries are a big one. Absolutely. Thank you for reminding me of that. And so this is where you have a chance to market to that business. Otherwise, that how do you get to that? And again, your approach is you're helping them market their business rather than you asking just for a handout. And obviously, if their client or their prospect goes on and discovers them through executorium, you'd like to believe the person who got that business is, when it comes to real estate, is going to say, "Oh wow, Bill's the one who put me on that thing. I should check in with him about the real estate side." That's how this is meant to work.
Mhm.
So here we are. You've been in this project now for I think 4 years that I remember. I think I started. I was in New York. I want to say pre-COVID, so it must be 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Where's Executorium going? What's the vision? What's the plan for it?
Well, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. Uh, I've become very dedicated to this. When we talked 4 years ago, it was a project that I had in my head after having written ideas for years previously on cocktail napkins and scraps of paper and yellow pads and everywhere else I could find emails to myself and um, we launched it, as a kind of a ancillary project, see what would happen, see what we could make out of it. And people either figured it out that this was something that was, going to be very useful for an executor. And uh, what we found out fairly recently, about a year ago, is that our website wasn't quite where it should be as far as the back end, as far as the structure, as far as the architecture, as far as things like the SEO. We rebuilt it in the beginning of this year and relaunched it in June with all the necessary uh, structure, again, architecture and code to take advantage of that and make the most out of it, because executors have to find executorium.com one way or another. And so now all these pieces are in place. Where's it going? We're going to stay the course. We're going to build up that estate service providers directory to just keep adding companies and flesh out what we don't have where there's deficits, which we do quite frequently. We go in and fill out, thin counties, et cetera. The government directory we didn't mention, but that's where executors can go and find,
Oh,
um,
that's a great. I
find,
missed that. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm going to bring
that's
it
all
up.
right. They can go and find county, state, and IRS pages that they will want to be aware of.
Yep.
And maybe certified probate experts want to be aware of this resource too. We just did an estate talks, which is my podcast, with Charleston County Probate Court Judge Irv Condon, and he went for 30 minutes about just describing A to Z about the process of probate. So that was very helpful just to get an oversight, an overview. So we have a relationship with government that we just seek to build upon and deepen and work with them to try to, again, get resources in front of executors so it's not such a struggle.
And I would urge everybody here to go, if you're not already familiar, to go into the government resource section, go to your state or, and then county, and then pull up what resources are available. This is what the customer is going to see. And so you're going to learn different states where you would, how you would open a state, how you open a state without a will or whatever different content there is by state and by county. Some counties have robust websites and resources, some have none. And you should know that. And that way you're able to be more of assistance to your customers. This is a great opportunity for education. And I always tell people rather than looking for the right prospect, you want to be the right resource, be the right agent, be the right attorney, be the right vendor. And if you know the business better than everybody else does, then you're going to win. Okay, I want to ask for questions. Love to have you raise your hand and come in live if you want to. Cynthia asked a question in the chat box. I don't know, Cynthia, if you're on live, we'd love to bring you in if you want to unmute yourself and put on your video. But she says that she's a new agent interested in probate real estate. Is there a certification class you can look into? And what we suggest as your first step? So Cynthia, the certification, there is one in California. I think it's the only state that has a certification that's state specific, done by CAR, and the teacher is Paul Horn, a prominent Los Angeles attorney. Otherwise, there are certification courses in the general concept of probate. The one I recommend is probatemastery.com. It's a little more expensive, but more comprehensive from my perspective. Probatemastery.com. I've actually coached for free on their weekly coaching program, which comes up at 11 on Tuesdays Pacific time, probatemastery.com. I recommend that one. And then we say, what are your first steps? You're a new agent. All the more reason why this tool is perfect for you, because anybody who's in a space that can service estates should be in the directory. Agents are so frustrated, are so scared to call people they know. But here's a chance to create value with every accountant every attorney anybody who's a fiduciary, estate planners, estate sale people, clean out people. You have a whole list of vendors that you might want to look through and see in your area who you might be able to add to the directory out of your Rolodex, and then call people on that list to find out what they do, what their strategy is, to work with them. And the other thing you might do as a new agent is do an interview with those people about working with estates and working with probate. Again, you have some on your Rolodex, and then you go onto the website, find the directory, and offer to help promote those people as well. Okay, I'll see your hand up, so I guess that's the best we can do for you. Anybody else have any questions? You want to raise your hand and or jump the chat box? Love to have you participate if you're interested. Talk a little bit, George, if you would. I know you have also a premium, not required, advertising program, and some people have taken advantage of that. Talk about the advertising supplemental program that people have who want to take more advantage of the opportunity.
Well, thank you, Bill. Of course, we do have to keep the lights on here. This project, started as an idea, really based around the directory and the government directory, and then filling it in with content. Trying to figure out how to pay for it was ancillary. So we did create ads in all the individual counties. So if you take an ad, say in LA, it shows up in the estate service providers directory in LA, and it'll also show up in the government directory in Los Angeles. So I think LA is $30 a month, and there are some counties that are $5 a month. It's based on population. We also have site-wide ads if you want to reach the entire viewership of the website, and they're also economical. So that's our that's our main source of revenue. Our listings are free, so it takes about 4 to 5 minutes to go in and put in your listing, your address, your social, your social media, contact information. You can put a description, which Google should pick up as metadata and help people find you a little bit better. You can put in links. You'll put in your homepage, and Google loves links. One thing about a listing in executorium.com is it's a backlink. It's a free backlink, and if you don't know what that is, I didn't know what that is. And what it is a link on somebody else's site to your site. And it's one of the main criteria Google uses to rank your website is, are people citing your website with links on their site and pointing people looking at their site to you, to your site. So we do that for everybody who takes a listing on executorium.com, and that's no charge. We don't, our listings are free because we're building an asset for executors. Advertising's nice, of course. We like to keep the lights on. But you can expand now into different categories. You can expand now into different counties, which is new as of the new website. So if you want to have a little wider footprint, new county is a one-time $50 fee. An additional category is one-time $50 fee. Times as many counties as you want to expand to, or many categories as you want to expand to. Other than that, we just love to have people in. We'd love to give you those backlinks. We'd like to get backlinks in return, of course. So it's a bit of a partnership between Executorium and the estate service providers.
Right. And so when people talk about raising SEO, a lot of real estate agents pay money to have fancy websites with all kinds of fancy names and tabs. But by being linked in another website, that adds to your Google juice. And then you're also offering that to your vendors as well. So, George, I know we've had you on now, I think 3 or 4 times. We watched this grow from a rough idea and kind of the internet version of a napkin to really a full-on website that's really quite a resource. And I urge all real estate agents and professionals in the estate and probate space to take advantage of the resource you have. Thank you so much for what you provide for us. And I'll just say this to everybody on the call, if you get my emails, you're going to get an email today when we're done. This is going to give you the chance to add yourself to the directory and or add the vendors that you think that should be on. On his website, he has a list of the types of vendors that he has categories on: accountants, appraisers, donation. What nonprofit wouldn't like some free advertising? Estate administration, auctions, clean out, estate sales, grief support, legacy management, mediation, probate attorneys, real estate agents, storage, and wanted. Think people who want certain property in a certain area. And so I'm going to send that link out to my database, encouraging them to both participate as well as pass on to somebody who would appreciate that free advertising. I'm going to urge you guys all to do the same as well. And so if I can help with that, reach out. George, congratulations on building a great resource and continued success, and look forward to working with you down the road.
Bill, thank you very much. Such a pleasure to have this opportunity to present executorium.com. We need real estate agents. Executors need real estate agents. They're one of the main assets of your team. So you're key to this. Certified probate experts. If you know probate, more's the better. Even more's the better. So we invite you to take a listing, please.
Thanks so much. As always, appreciate your time. And so again, just to recap to everybody on the call, I want to urge you all. I get asked all the time, what can I do to build my business? And you should walk away today with 5, I think, action items. They're all free. They're going to generate business for you. And this is what I do all the time. Number 1 is join Executorium, get your directory in there. It's free. That's a no-brainer. Number 2, join the social networks. They have on the bottom, like most vendors, Facebook and YouTube and X and LinkedIn, Instagram. Go ahead and join in their social media so you can see like-minded people and the executors coming in, or prospective investor executors coming in to generate some business. Number 3, you want to find content there that you can reuse for your content strategy, whether you post it in your social media and or email it and or make videos about it. Reusing other people's content as a research tool is a fantastic way to build your business. That's free. You should be doing that weekly. I send out emails every week on Monday, as well as post on my social media. Number 4, reach out to your vendors. You're going to see me do this shortly with an email where I'm going to list the different vendors. I'm going to ask everybody I know, hey, if you're appropriate, get on this directory. If not, if you know somebody who is, please put them on the directory. It's a great resource. It's free. And more importantly, it helps the people that we're all trying to help. So it helps all of our customers' business. And then number 5, I would say, is you should be doing video interviews of the people in your network that you're adding onto this directory, or the people in the directory in your area. Reach out to them and do a short video and add that to your social media to promote the business. 5 free steps. And I guess I could add number 6, research your local area if you haven't already, as far as the content on the government services. What does your state require to file a probate or an estate plan or wills? And you can look at the state level as well as the county level in some of the counties that have that resource. Take a look at the material and learn how to be more effective as an agent or provider to your customers, and you'll be better rather than just look to get more leads. So that's my plan to walk away with from here today. If you have questions, last chance, last call, jump in with any questions, put in the chat box, raise your hand. Love to participate. If you're watching this on the replay, feel free to put questions out or reach out to me directly. It's probably more efficient. I'm at Bill Gross Probate on social media. And the best way probably is email. You can go to billgrossprobate.com to get all my contact information, and I'd love to participate with you. Okay, not seeing any questions. Hopefully you'll take advantage of that 5-step plan, all free, all guaranteed effective. These are things I've done to build a great probate business for myself, and I'd like to help you along the way as well as I can. If I can help you, reach out. If not, make today your best day ever. Thank you, everybody. We'll have a great week.